Okay, I have decided to go ahead and do 3 more of the most missed items. So I've already done 9, 11, and 12. And I'm gonna go through 14, 18, and number 6. Okay, we'll start with number 6. All right, number 6, there's actually reading before the question. It says, read the information, then answer the following questions. Students are learning about tectonic plate activity near the California cities of Oakland and Modesto, which are separated by mountains in the California Coast Ranges. Figure 1 shows a cross-section of the area as well as the general wind pattern blowing over the mountains. Okay, so this is figure 1. Wind flow is going up and over. Oakland is on the Pacific Ocean side. Modesto is further inland. Your key says here's the direction that the wind blows. Okay. Figure 2 shows the tectonic plate boundary in this area during the Mesozoic era, which is when the mountains in the coastal range were formed. That's nice information, but you don't need anything about tectonic plate information to answer this question. It's really a weather question. Why they even included the stuff about plate movement is beyond me, because it really just kind of confuses the situation. But if you will look at number 6, it says based on figure 1, not figure 2, so we're not even considering it. How does Modesto's weather most likely differ from Oakland's weather? Okay, well, the first thing I need to notice is that Oakland is on the Pacific Ocean side. So we're going to have air coming off of the ocean, going over Modesto, and it's going to have a lot of water vapor. So this air is humid because it's coming from over the ocean. It's going to rise, and rising air with a lot of humidity is going to form clouds and storms. And by the time the air cools up here, it's gotten rid of most of its moisture and it descends, and Modesto does not get a whole lot of precipitation. Now, I know that, but how are you supposed to know that? Well, let's go to your slides that you have that you can consult. Okay, so this is, I think, maybe our final slide from the weather basics. Before we started the slides for tropical cyclones. It says, how do mountains affect precipitation amounts? This is basically exactly like the question. The wind is coming from off of the ocean. It's rising with lots of moisture in it and forming clouds. So you're going to get rain here, and that's called the windward side because it's where the wind is coming from. And it says arid right here. Arid is another word that means dry. So remember, Oakland is over here on the moist side, so it's going to get more precipitation than Modesto, which is over on the arid or the dry side. So how do I need to tackle this question? Well, first of all, by my answer choices, what am I going to use for my evidence? I'm going to say I went to the slides that were about weather basics. And I found the slide, how do mountains affect precipitation amounts? Okay. Reading the information in the slide, land areas on the windward side receive more precipitation. Okay, so knowing that, let's go look at our answers. Modesto will experience less precipitation than Oakland. That's probably our answer. Remember, this image is no help whatsoever. It's the image that's showing the airflow up above over the mountains. Modesto will experience more clouds in the sky than Oakland. No, because remember, Oakland is here. Here are the mountains. Here is Modesto. The clouds are going to be on the Oakland side where the air is rising. The air in Modesto will be more humid. No, again, it's humid here until it forms clouds. So it's humid on this side, dry on this side. Why is it dry on this side? Because it got rid of all of its moisture here when the air was rising. The winds in Modesto will move in the opposite direction from the winds in Oakland. There is no evidence that that is true. Okay. All right, so by process of elimination and some information from one of our slides, we were able to answer A. A is the correct answer. All right, 14 was another one that was commonly missed. What role does the ocean play in Texas weather? Okay, so let's look at our answers and then let's start picking apart some of the answer choices, and definitely let's throw out some ones that don't necessarily make sense. Okay, precipitation that falls on Texas originates from water evaporated from oceans. I would say that's true not only of Texas, but of most places. Most places, except for maybe a few exceptions, primarily are going to get their precipitation from water that came from the oceans originally. Waves along the Texas coast create warm fronts. Okay, there is nothing that we have said, done, or notes that we have taken that link wave action to warm fronts. Nope, nope, and nope. Hot and dry conditions in the Texas Panhandle are caused by uneven heating of the ocean surface. Well, I don't know of any hot and dry conditions that would be linked at all to an ocean surface, because if you're linking conditions to ocean surfaces, it wouldn't be dry, it would be humid. So that doesn't make sense. High pressure air masses over Texas originate as high pressure air masses over the Atlantic Ocean. Well, first of all, the Atlantic Ocean is fairly far away from Texas. Remember that Texas is sitting next to the Gulf of Mexico. So that's the large body of water next to Texas. The Atlantic Ocean is further away. Okay, and I pulled up a map just to show you. The weather that we get here in Texas, the big body of water that's going to influence us is here in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, the Atlantic is way over here. It's going to have a bigger influence on like the East Coast. Okay, so doing a little thinking, we can eliminate D as well, because high pressure air masses over Texas originate as high pressure air masses over the Atlantic. Well, first of all, it's not the Atlantic that's going to have as big an influence on Texas, but also high pressure air masses are not really going to be the thing. Low pressure goes with rising warm air, which is what you're going to usually have over warm ocean water. Okay, so that doesn't make sense either. There's not really anything specific that I can go and point to. This is more of a thinking and reasoning question, but A is really the only good answer when we look carefully at the rest of the choices. So precipitation that falls on Texas originates from water evaporated from oceans. Okay, and then finally, 18, the ocean covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface and contains about 97% of the Earth's water. The ocean is very effective at absorbing and storing excess heat from the atmosphere. How does the ocean influence weather patterns? Okay, well, let's think about things that go together. Cold ocean waters provide energy for storm systems? Not usually. Because it's rising warm water, warm humid air, that generate a lot of our storm systems, okay? So cold ocean waters generating a lot of storm systems like hurricanes and things, that doesn't really go. Hurricanes originate over tropical regions under conditions of low humidity. No. Hurricanes are going to originate over places that have high humidity because they're sitting over ocean water. A lot of moisture vapor. And on these questions that I'm just kind of talking through with you, you just take the notes that I take and you're good. Sitting over water. So that's going to be high humidity, not low. Okay. Tropical storms form over warm ocean waters. We know that that's true, which provide the energy for hurricanes to grow. We know that that's true. That's warm ocean water is the key to hurricane formation. So that's probably going to be our answer. Low pressure areas can form where the air is being heated by the sun and the ocean. This looks like a good choice. It's tempting until I realized that they said the air is heated by the sun and the ocean. The ocean does not heat the air. Only the sun does. So that's bogus too. All right. So when we read carefully and we look at stupid answers, we eliminate D. We eliminate B because we're not going to have hurricanes originating under conditions of low humidity. That doesn't make any sense. We're not going to have storm systems generate, like tropical cyclones and things like that. We're not going to have them being generated from cold ocean waters. So that doesn't make any sense either. The only thing that makes sense is that tropical storms form over warm ocean waters, which provide the energy for hurricanes to grow. Okay, so now I have answered basically 6 of the 18 questions. Hopefully several of them were questions that you had to do anyway. And so it is your responsibility to find evidence that either supports the right answer for the ones you need to correct, or you can find evidence in your notes of why you can eliminate certain wrong answers. That's also okay. But you need to cite where you're getting your information. Okay. Like I got my information from the slides, that this one that was titled this, and this is what it said. Okay. Or I got my information from this keeper and this is what it said. And this is how it let me answer the question. Okay. So that should hopefully take care of what you need and help get you started.